What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to another episode of Lobbing Scorchers. We have got a dub pod to lay down for you on this beautiful Sunday afternoon in Seattle. We're also going to be doing a little Club World Cup discourse as well as we catch up in one of our first shows like this in a little while. We got a lot of stuff to cover as the Seattle Sounders return to MLS play and look ahead to the rest of the MLS League season. Noah, how are you feeling?
It feels good to be back. It was 2 weeks of endless content, but I was not a part of any of it. I was fighting my way through the credentialing process of FIFA. I was fighting my way through the hordes and the masses at the matches. And, we'll
It's
talk
good to be
about
back
it more.
on the couch laying down a little pod. Big win for the Seattle Sounders last night. We were talking in the press box before the game, but if they had lost this game, it would have been a 6-game losing streak, all comps, which 3 of those were against 3 of the best teams in the world in the Club World Cup group of death. But still, you never want a 6th spot, right? No. You never want a 6th spot. So it was a necessary win, and considering where they were at with the personnel in central defense, it was an impressive win. Jesús Ferreira, 1 goal, 1 assist. They're going to say they don't count, but they did count. Danny Musovski, goal off a 23-pass buildup. That was, I think, one of my favorite goals of the season so far that has been scored by this team. And we're going to be reacting to that, as I said, and doing some Club World Cup discourse, hitting our agenda check, and more bonus content for YouTube members. So it's going to be a big show. But before we get into that, I do have to let you all know that Lobbing Scorchers is a part of the Sounder at Heart podcast network. If you want to get the best independent Seattle soccer coverage, consider supporting us by going to sounderatheart.com/ls. Noah, what's that link?
sounderatheart.com/ls. Scroll down to subscribe and support.
To get 30 days completely free. Every sign up through our link helps support and grow this show. Are we still on the road to
We're still
100?
on the road
plugging
to
away
100.
slowly but surely. But now more than ever is a great time to become a member with the season obviously in full swing. And subscribers get access to the audio-only version of our live shows right to your podcast feed. Noah, you got the sub list up right there. Do we have any new ones to thank here?
3 new subs here.
Oh, let's go.
Andrew Bresford, Mark Wilkinson, and Kyle Zahn. Thank you so much for supporting independent Seattle soccer coverage and the Lobbing Scorchers podcast, of course. So if you want to get the best Seattle soccer coverage, you know where to go. Okay, like you don't have to ask us. You don't have to hit us up on Blue Sky or Twitter or whatever and be like, hey, where do I get the best Seattle soccer coverage? You know it's at sounderatheart.com/ls.
The Lobbing Scorchers hot sauce is also now live and operational. It is out and it's really good. We're very excited about what we whipped up with Hacks and Ferments, one of our beloved sponsors. Go grab yourself a bottle. LobbingScorchers.com/sauce. You can order right from there. And if you use code LS, you get a free bottle with your order.
Yeah.
So
we're shooting some promo content for that soon.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You'll get, we'll be pumping this, but I have to be honest, sorry. I was gonna bring one today, and I used the rest of it this morning. So
because
I
good.
I legitimately went through 4 bottles in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. It's so good.
Yeah, Hacks and Ferments, great company, great product, and LobbingScorchers.com/sauce. Get your bottle and use code LS to get a free bottle. Shout out to Hacks and Ferments and our other sponsors, Podium Menswear and Full Pull Wines. And if you have not yet, for some crazy reason, sub to the YouTube channel. And follow us on all socials, including Instagram and TikTok. The Instagram game, the road to credibility, is alive and well, but we could always use some more follows on there. The TikTok game is...
It's a tough scene.
It's hot, but not necessarily in a good way.
Yeah, there's a lot of crash outs out there.
There are the comment section on TikTok
West.
Is a tough scene sometimes, but our stuff on there has been performing quite well.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Sure.
So give us a follow on there. All right, no, we're gonna hit this dub pod in a minute here, but before we do that, I did want to check in on some Club World Cup discourse with you because we haven't really gotten to a debrief since Seattle was officially eliminated from the tournament. Talked about it quite a bit, obviously, with Nico on Lobbing Scorchers kickoff. It been a big topic of conversation on Under the Lights. But we haven't really talked about it yet. So what I was going to do is Nico and I did a little thought exercise where we gave Seattle letter grades for their performance in the group of death based on how these games went. Nico was a little harsher than me. He went C-. I was a little harsh at first too. I went more like C+.
Okay.
But then after this was done like right after the tournament.
Yeah.
So it was like my kind of
You were
raw,
still on it.
emotional reaction, and I was still thinking about the new who foul in the Botafogo game. At least a couple of goals against Atletico, I want to say, were just like my thing was like, in terms of the overall performances and results, I think you could give it a B. But the reason I was digging them was for having the type of concessions that are avoidable and stuff that in games like these where the margins are so thin, especially against in the Botafogo game. If you make mistakes like the one Nuhu made on that first foul, I think it's fair to ding the overall assessment of the performance on if a team like Atletico Madrid or PSG, just their quality outshines your quality, like the first goal in the Atletico game, the one that Pablo Barrios scored, for example, that's one where you're like, okay, we're playing one of the best teams in the world every single year, and if they hit a shot like that, you tip your cap. That's a GG's. On to the next. But there was, in my opinion, too many goals in this tournament that weren't of that category, that were of the category of the Sounders shooting themselves in the foot in ways that they didn't need to. So that's why I was like, C+ feels more correct than maybe a B-. However, I will say, after
further review,
after VAR review, after taking a few days to marinate on it and really soak it in a little more, I kind of came to the conclusion that in the B's is actually fair. I mean, look, this group, it was one of the best teams in Spain, the best team in South America from last year, and the literal number one best team in the entire world.
Yeah,
that was who was in this group. So I think you do have to take that into account when you are evaluating this, assessing this. And I think with that in mind, the fact that Seattle was hanging with it in these games, they were competing, they were controlling the run of play at times, they had their chances, they scored 2 goals in the group play, they gave the fans at Lumen Field some great moments, some great memories where they scored goals that will always have the 2 minutes after Albert Rusnak scored against Atletico Madrid, where a result in that game actually felt like it could be on the table. We'll always have the Botafogo game that was a fight till the bitter end, and
in many ways,
Christian Roldan gets a goal in that game. Noah, my favorite moment of the whole group stage for Seattle was at I've alluded to this on the live shows, but I'll relive it again. At halftime of the Atletico Madrid game when Seattle was down 1-0. Got lucky to get out of that half with it at 1-0, but they were fighting out there. They were competing. They were scrapping. They were losing 1-0 at the half, and the Lumen Field crowd gave Seattle a standing ovation as if to say, like, come on, guys, keep going. Like, thank you. You're competing. You're doing us proud right now against one of the best teams in the world, and you're losing the game. But it was just this like moment of appreciation from the home crowd, and you can't like fake moments like that. That's all organic, and the team gave the fans that. They gave all of us who cover this team that. So even with a few unfortunate concessions, I think you do have to. If you look at the positives from that type of lens, I think a B or B- is actually fair, despite some admittedly unfortunate concessions. So sorry, I was rambling there.
No, you were in the zone.
I was in the zone right there. Where do you come down on that, Noah? We haven't talked about it. Like, what would your grade be, and why would you assess Seattle's performance in the group of death as such?
I think it starts for me with the atmosphere, the feeling around the games, the going into this with the expectations that I did. And I've stated this before, like, I never expected to win a single one of these games. If they did, that was a success.
That would be an A+.
That's an A. I said that, and I said, if you come out of this with a draw, that's acceptable. That's great. That's a B. That's a B. I think coming out of this, performing, not getting truly embarrassed, I think maybe the Atletico game, you get a little, you get the most exposed. And I think the PSG game, you probably get lucky to not give a few more away. Like I think they played them well, but I think that PSG could have had
I would say that they
more.
got lucky, honestly, to not get scored on more in the first half of the Atletico game.
For sure.
And then to me, the PSG game kind of looked like once they went up 2-0, it was kind of just about killing the game off for them.
They took the foot off their gas.
At least that's what it felt like. I could be wrong about that, but to me, the vibe I got was that if they had truly like tried to turn up and been like, this is the PSG that was just playing in UEFA Champions League, they probably could have hit a different level and just didn't feel the need to. But that's speculation.
I think if you went into this tournament like you have to be competitive, this is it. Like if you're an LAFC fan and you have that dog shit group, I mean, it's not terrible, but you know what I mean? None of these groups are easy by any means, especially with the salary cap. Okay, maybe the Auckland City one, but regardless, it's tough, right? Like, and they went into it thinking we could win, we could get out of this group easily. Like, we have to get out of this group. I think you know, at the end of the day, for the Sounders, they have to feel like maybe if they were fully healthy, they could get a result in this group. I think if they think that they're fully healthy, that they could probably score against PSG and, you know, maybe even be a problem against them. That said, I mean, like, you can live in what ifs and whatevers. I think they acquitted themselves well, and that's kind of like fine. You know, there's nothing to be embarrassed about it. It's acceptable, but you know, if we're gonna have to give it a letter grade, I'll split the difference between you and Nico. I'm gonna go with a C. I think that it's passing along the lines of exactly what I had shared previously of what I thought like would be passing or, you know, impressive or good or whatever. Like that's just what it is. It's fine. It's great. Like you scored goals in a group of death and you weren't expected to get out and you didn't. But you didn't look like you didn't belong there. You looked like, yeah, okay. And you got the respect of some fans and, you know, you use this tournament to very clearly, like, the way that they played against PSG, there was a game plan there. Like, they game planned it. They structured it. The players went out there and they performed like it was life or death. And that was awesome. And that was super fun to watch. And it's very clear with this Austin game that they've taken notes from these teams that they played and they're applying it to their own gameplay, which is awesome. That's kind of all you can ask for. So for me, I had fun. I enjoyed watching it. I wouldn't say it was like a success by any means, but like, yeah, okay, sure, hell yeah. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, yeah, it was fun. I had fun. C. Passing, 70. Just like me and most of my grades in all of school.
I think that's fair. For me, I guess acquitting themselves well was more of a the barometer of success when you're taking into account competition like this. So maybe that's grading it on more of a curve than some would, but that's how I feel about it. I land more in the B range after marinating on it, but if people are more in the C range, I think that's also fair.
I think it's perspective too. Like, what are you disappointed, or are you like? I think that's really letter grades are always a funny thing, right? Like we don't have numbers to like judge these on. I think the bigger question is, were you disappointed? Me, absolutely not. And yeah. I don't think you could talk to anyone reasonable that would be like, man, I'm really disappointed in the way that they performed.
Well, and there was I knew kind of no matter what happened, unless they won one of these games or somehow got out of the group, we were gonna have to deal with the discourse like in our comment sections and in our chats and stuff of people talking about, oh wow, you hosted 3 games and didn't even win a single one, didn't even take a single point.
To be there,
how embarrassing
blah, blah, blah,
for MLS,
yeah.
How embarrassing for you. But the beautiful thing about it from our perspective, or at least from my perspective, is that the actual narrative is not related to people who want to throw those comments in our comment sections or
They didn't
in our
watch the
chats.
games.
That stuff is based on what happens on the field. It is very clear cut. Anyone who watched the games saw that Seattle acquitted themselves well, and that's the pervasive narrative among other fan bases, how it's been covered by the media, and ultimately what the mainstream perception of their performance really is. So if you can come in with those narratives to the effect that it was like embarrassing or a horrible performance for Seattle, but you lost. You lost that discourse. Yeah. And I think maybe one reason I'm giving them is a little bit higher of a grade is I appreciate that the players went out there and put that to bed. Put that notion like people are going to say that no matter what. But the fact that the performance that Seattle did put in rendered that objectively like incorrect and not the mainstream narrative that Seattle has coming out of this tournament. I love that. I think that's great. So there was that. And also, I will point out, Noah, the Seattle Sounders did not have the worst performance of an MLS club in this competition.
It is true.
As you mentioned, LAFC, I don't know if I would. I'm not going to sit here and say whether what happened to them was embarrassing or not embarrassing, but I will tell you that their fan base is coming out of this tournament heated. Yeah. They are pissed.
And they're blowing up their damn team, dude.
Yeah, Giroud is out of there. He's back to France from whence he came, and they lost to the Tunisian team, which I will say, like, that team kind of ripped. Like, I watched that whole LAFC game when they were playing them, and that was that team playing well more than it was LAFC like crashing out or playing bad.
It was a combo. I think like that team was playing at their highest potential, and also LAFC was playing at their literal worst. Like, they looked terrible,
and they looked like
they missed a penalty.
They looked almost just not like.
They didn't care.
Yeah, exactly. Like, disinterested.
Like they didn't care.
They looked like disinterested at times, and their fans are pointing that out in a way that Seattle fans. Yeah, and Seattle fans don't have to do that. Like, you can look at it and be like, the team like played up to the moment in certain respects, and they definitely did not look like disinterested. They were playing for the badge. They were very much interested. They were playing for the badge out there. So LAFC had, I think, easily the worst Club World Cup performance of any MLS club. Yeah. And Inter Miami, they made it out of the group, and they made a ton of money by winning one of their games and drawing the other two. They played really well in that group. They got out of the group.
But also they spend $20 million more than the highest spending team in MLS. So it's like, okay, yeah, you got out of the group, and then what?
Well, so that's what I was getting to. They played PSG earlier this morning and fared way worse than Seattle did. That game was not close for a second of that game.
They scored 4 in the first half.
They scored in the opener in the first 4 minutes of the game. There was not 1 second of that match that was competitive. Maybe
they took the foot off the gas
in the second half when it was already 4-0. Yeah. Inter Miami might have had some nice moments, but it's not like it meant anything. So I think they are the only club that got out of their group. You have to give them credit for that. It's not like it was a Mickey Mouse group either.
It was.
Inter Miami's group?
Yeah, it was a little Mickey Mouse.
I don't think so.
You know they stuck them in there because they wanted them to advance and play PSG.
I have to look it up because I can't remember exactly.
Well, while you do that, I will say this:
Palmeiras, Porto. Porto's
trash.
That they were not good in that
terrible.
game.
Palmeiras went
beat
through,
Botafogo,
but they went through.
Al-Ali, we know they're pretty good.
Al-Ali, but they drew them, and we watched that game. That was the craziest match I've ever seen in my life. That was the most insane 0-0. That could have easily been. That I think that Inter Miami were lucky to draw that game.
The Al-Ali game.
Yeah.
I mean, it certainly was not anywhere close to the type of competition that Seattle had to play. So they got their bag off getting those results, and I'm not going to fault them for that. But I don't think
champions.
I don't think it was a trash group. But it's if we're comparing it to what Seattle had to deal with in the group of death, there is no comparison.
I think if you're gonna power rank the groups, I think that's bottom 4th.
Yeah.
Not like Inter Miami included in that. Like, I think that's just the truth. Messi or not Messi. Like, that's, if you watch the Fuche Bowl that they play, they just leak goals all the time, like every day. That's their favorite thing to do, other than the Chicago Fire.
You could make an argument that Seattle's overall showing in this tournament was superior to Inter Miami's, even with Seattle not taking a single point, and
they're not going to like that.
And Inter Miami
People are not
making it
going to
out
like
of their
that.
Well, look at what happened in the PSG game. Was Inter Miami anywhere in the ballpark? No. And the expectation on their team with what they've spent and what they've put together with their roster is fundamentally different than any other MLS club. They're supposed to be the club that can rise to a moment like that. And like they just weren't close to that.
And
like,
people will say,
that,
like,
and that's just, I think that's not like me being unfair.
No.
I think that's just reality.
Well, we've seen it time and time again, right? Like what I have said this. Inter Miami with Messi has been a failure so far. It's been a failure. They haven't won shit that is meaningful to anyone. Their whole goal this year was to win Champions Cup. Couldn't do it. Their whole goal before that was to win MLS Cup. A 48-year-old Brad Guzan, who's now a podcaster, ended their run immediately. You have what have they won? Leagues Cup
And the Supporters Shield and set the points record.
Which, okay, you know what? I'll give them that. Like, I think that the Supporters Shield run was great. They looked great for stretches. Tata had them playing, like, very nice. Tata had them playing nice. But when you talk about trophies that matter in MLS, they've never won one.
I think
Leagues Cup is cool, but they played an easy path and they played an MLS
maybe
team
I value
in
the Shield more than you.
I think so.
I think the Shield.
It's an unbalanced league, though.
But it still matters, and it's still, I think, a pretty fair, even with the balance issues. I think it is a pretty fair reflection of who the best team over the regular season actually was. Especially when you win it in the way that they did with 74 points. That's not nothing. I think failure to me would be if they hadn't won any trophies. Leagues Cup.
There's 7,000 trophies to win, though, in MLS. That's the whole point of MLS. Is
but the Shield
everyone
is
has a trophy to win.
The Shield is a.
It's the way you qualify for the Club World Cup, Ari.
It's on the significant end. I certainly value it over Leagues Cup, not as much as Champions Cup, obviously, not as much as MLS Cup, but probably right after those two would be the Shield, unless I'm missing something.
I think here's my problem with the Shield, and this is completely aside, is that it's not like a rest of the world type of points race because you're not playing every team. You're not. Your travel is different if you're on the East Coast than if you're on the West Coast. Like, just the amount of miles that you're traveling based on what teams and what lineup and all this stuff. It's like, it's not fair. It's not even. You don't play every team. You can't really get a good sense. That said, do I think that on paper and in practice when they were at their best was Miami the best team in MLS? Yeah, I mean that's undeniable, right? Like
we both watched those games when they were at their peak level, and it's some of the best attacking footy that has ever been played in the league.
But there's been a lot of fraudulent Shield winners, is all I'll say. There's been a lot of fraudulent Shield winners. I
don't consider them in that group. I think when you set the points record, that's not really fraudulent.
I think I would value Leagues Cup higher just simply because the potential competition that they can play is higher.
They had to beat some Liga MX teams.
Yeah, they beat one.
Or was it only one? I thought
I think they only beat one. It was 2022, right?
I know they got Cruz Azul on the free kick,
but also Leagues Cup all played in the U.S. No, blah blah blah. Like
true. I think I would use the term disappointment more than failure. I do put at least a little bit of stock in their Leagues Cup and Supporters Shield /
Inter
point
Miami
record.
played Orlando City. This is in the knockouts, not in the group stage. Because everyone basically goes through in the group stage. Inter Miami played Orlando, beat Orlando. Played FC Dallas, beat FC Dallas. Played Charlotte, beat Charlotte. Played Philly, beat Philly. And then played Nashville in the final and won on PKs. So they didn't meaningfully play a Liga MX team in the knockouts. So it's a little bit like, I'll give it to them. Anyone can be good on any day. But, I mean, come on.
No, I mean, I think you're, even if I might not take it as far as categorical failure, I think there's no question that it has not resulted in the trophy haul that was expected. And those expectations, that is part of what comes with bringing in Messi and the Barca Boys. That's you bring that on yourself when you have that type of...
they openly would advocate for that kind of pressure.
Yeah, and they should. But I think it is fair to point out that they have not lived up to that. And they there's one thing to lose to PSG. It's the best team in the world. But to be abjectly non-competitive like that...
With it's the best player in the world on your team.
And I think there is a question at this point. Like, is Messi still the best player in the world? He's still one of.
Sure.
But either way, that doesn't change like the status and expectations that they've got within the league with that roster right now.
The roster's built so fucking poorly, though. That's the problem. Is like you have a coach who has no fucking clue what he's doing. You have a GM who I don't think he's ever. Like,
have we heard from him all year?
We haven't heard from him. I don't think he has ever done anything. Like, I don't think he actually know. Like, I think he's just like a puppet guy. And MLS is a crazy, weird league. We talk about this all the time. It's one of the reasons why I love it. But the roster is constructed so goddamn poorly. They've never been able to figure out their defense. They've never been able to figure out how to play their game. Tata had them playing nice. I'll give them that. But they were still vulnerable. The ways that you beat them then were the same ways that you beat them now, but Tata was just minutes managing them way better.
And they were scoring just so many goals that the defensive frailties didn't matter. I remember us talking about that when they were in the process of setting the points record. They were I will stand by they were playing the game at as high a level in attack as I have ever seen an MLS club play it, to the point where they were able to set the points record with all these defensive issues that you're alluding to.
Right.
It didn't matter. They could concede 2 to 3 goals a game and they would still win every game because they would score 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And that was just how it was.
Yeah, but every result they took was like 5 to 3.
5 to 2, 5 to 3, 4 to 2, 4 3. Yeah. And, that is one way to live if you're able to have Messi and the Barca Boys just looking like 2011, 2012 Barcelona against MLS defenses.
Yeah.
But I think what we're seeing this year is as they have another year of mileage on their legs, and you're inevitably, when you're talking about guys that are not just in their mid-30s, but like late 30s, you're not going to have them available for even probably 70% of the minutes that you need to soak up in a given year with all these competitions and all these games. And when that happens, like what's your plan B? What can you go to? What can you tap into to offset the fact that you don't have the Barca Boys firing at that level? Game in, game out, week in, week out. And they have not had that good of a season in league play. I think they're at like 1.6 something points per game right now. I'm about to look it up, but it's not something that much more.
1.8.
Okay, so they're back
50%.
They have been better in league play the last few weeks.
They've also played less games. They are by far behind. Besides the White, actually, I think the Caps have caught up, but they've only played 16 league games.
Yeah.
Which, like, that's part of it is like they've been in every tournament under the sun, but
they're in a solid spot in league play right now. But it's not
with how many games in hand they have.
Year.
They could still make a shield push.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not impossible. That's
and
all
going back to MLS play, like they probably. I imagine they probably will.
They'll take all their frustration
tap into
out
that
on
more.
Montreal, who they play next.
Well, and it's like, Mascherano, I don't know if he knows what he's doing
or
either,
Montreal is what I was saying.
But like he doesn't need to know what he's doing to like get that team be taking results.
I disagree,
so,
but I think that
he's got him at 1.8 with not knowing what he's doing
with 16
really.
games.
Yeah.
We'll see how it bears out in 20 and 30 and whatever, but I'm still scared. Cuz here's the problem: when you play in all these tournaments, now they're going to have to backload their schedule.
Right.
That's brutal. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how deep your team is.
You cannot have the Barca Boys out there for all those minutes.
I am waiting for the day if Messi gets injured, quote unquote, or real. I think the whole team falls apart. I think he leaves.
You think he leaves the team?
What else is it? He's failed winning anything. Why would he stay there?
Maybe he likes living in South Beach or whatever.
Maybe.
I don't know. Well,
Anyway, Messi era in the comments. Has it been a failure? What do you think?
All right, no, let's talk about this Austin game. This was some good stuff.
Yeah.
For the Seattle Sounders.
We won. Dub pod.
It is a dub pod. It's a necessary dub. Like I said at the top of the show.
After 5 winless.
Yeah, 5 winless. 5 and all L's, by the way. So it's
no D's.
They had to win this game. They had to win this game even with Alex Roldan playing center back. So let's just start right there. We found out in the days leading up to this game that every center back on the entire team, on the entire depth chart, besides
all the way down to like the
Leo Burney.
Yeah, all the way down.
Stu Hawks, Leo Burney, every single guy that could have played this position. It was a situation, which these situations happen in MLS, where you're down to like the 6th, 7th options on your depth chart. That's what Seattle was, the situation they were in central defense for this game. And their plan, as was reported from training leading up to the game, was Alex Roldan was training with the starters at that spot, which he has never played in an MLS game. And Cody Baker was appeared to be the secondary option. And he has played center back a lot with the academy and in MLS Next Pro, has not played it at all, even 1 minute in MLS play. The 2 center backs that they needed to get through this game, neither one of them had played 1 minute at the position in MLS play going into the game. That is inherently dicey, and I think I was, all things being equal, I would favor Seattle against this Austin FC team most times. But when you're playing a center back with no experience doing it in an MLS game, that's a tall order. That's a tough proposition. Alex Roldan draws the start there, which I think it's funny that every time they're in this type of situation, it's one of the 2 Roldans.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, sorry, Christian, the right backs are all hurt. You got to do it.
You got to play,
He did
bro.
that for years, right back Roldan, famously, until his brother became the literal right back Roldan.
Yeah.
But but when they needed a field player to go in goal, it was like, all right, Alex, you
played in training.
You're up. He's like out there
something.
making saves against the San Jose Earthquakes, preserving the result. And then in this situation, they don't have any center backs, and it's like, all right, Alex, you're up. And Stephen Fry noted that in that situation, a player has to totally adjust their mentality and how they think about the stakes of these 1v1 matchups, and how getting beat when you're a wing back on defense, it's usually to the end of like a cross or some sort of not like a 1v1 with the goalkeeper in the same way that if you get beat over the top or through the middle as a center back, it's just like an inherently different stakes situation that he was going to have to adapt to. No, I thought he did pretty awesome, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
I loved watching him just reading those long balls. You could tell Austin FC where they were absolutely trying to target him with balls over the top, just to make him deal with it, make him make those reads, make him get to the right spot and make those clearances, and he did it. And I thought he. We'll get to Lobbing Scorchers man of the match, but I'll just say right now, I think it was easily Alex Roldan for going out there and did he make any horrible mistakes? I don't think
he was
so.
wearing bright ass green cleats too. He stepped out there styling. I wish we would have had a chance to ask him about it, but in the locker room. But I think he played great. He looked natural.
Is he just a good center back?
I think he's just a good defender. I think that's really what it is. I think that Steph is correct. He's 100% correct that it is a different mindset. I think it's a lot less of a shift than a winger coming into that position. He's still a guy who gets back, defends. He slots into the center back role in transition sometimes. It's not something that's completely abnormal, but it is a tempo change, and it is a checking your lines and keeping your lines and all these different things,
tracking
that are added
balls,
on
making
to
sure
it.
you're in the right spot. It's playing defense is it's about 1v1 defending, but it's also about making sure you're in the right spots to deal with those long balls, making sure that runners aren't getting in behind you. I thought he was pretty clean on all that. It was fun to watch too, because it was like you knew he had.
And he's playing against Brandon Vasquez.
Yeah, like
So how many $1 million?
$10 million.
$10 million player.
So, and they kept a clean sheet in a game where Alex Roldan started at center back. So that was good to see. Jesus Ferreira, 1 goal, 1 assist. He gets the opener in first half stoppage time. Noah might actually not have to get a tattoo. Great team goal, both of these goals. But I loved what I saw on this first one from Paul Rothrock. What an assist!
We were talking about this in the PB about how our first hot take of Lobbing Scorchers, it hit. It's gone past like anything we could have ever imagined, and like this is fully a guy who like we're having conversations in the press box like, man, this guy could be like really good in the championship. Like this guy could
not like outlandish.
No, like we just really hit.
We
just
struggled.
We hit bullseye on the first attempt, and it's like, do we just walk away now? Like,
we might have to retire on that take because it couldn't have worked out any better.
I'm gonna ride that one until I die.
We're gonna talk about it in agenda check, but it's like it kind of reinforced what we have been discussing over the last few weeks as to what the best attacking setup for this team is. Rothrock is the one creating danger right now, and this team looks the most dynamic on offense when he's out there. I think, at least at this moment in time, it's pretty clear. He gets a great assist on this goal. It feels like he and Ferreira in particular have developed some chemistry and some synergy. Great to see Jesus Ferreira making that run to the far post in that wide channel, being in the right spot. It's a phenomenal chance. It's a wide open goal.
Yeah.
And those are the ones where if he gets those opportunities, he has finished those throughout his entire MLS career. I've been saying all season that I felt like there is going to come a time where he's going to start getting looks like he's going to figure out, he's a very high IQ player. He's going to figure out the types of runs he needs to be making on this team with this personnel to be getting those chances that he got so much during his FC Dallas career. And that was like a tailor-made. The 2 goals he scored in the last few weeks, the first one against San Diego and this one in this game, those are classic Jesus Ferreira goals where he's just in the right spot and then a lethal finish. But I think this one though was a little different because it really came out of this wide area type position, playing off Albert Rusnak centrally and still finding a dangerous chance and being clinical with the opportunity right on the stroke of first half stoppage time, where Austin FC are absolutely trying to just get that game to halftime at 0-0. He didn't let him do it. And really, the goal was great to see. He's at 2 goals now. How many does he need for you to avoid your little tattoo?
3 more.
3
5
more.
total.
So you're on
all
pace.
All comps.
You're on pace to avoid the tattoo. But then his assist on this Moose goal was also fantastic. But before we talk about that, because I want to really break down the 23 pass build up to that. But what did you think of what you saw from Jesus in this game, and where does it leave you feeling about his stock kind of going into the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think we'll definitely talk about it more on Agenda Check, just because I want to save that good content for after the ad break. But I will say shortly, like, it's not that we're sitting here like being digging our heels into a take because we want to be right. It's like, I think the idea that he somehow has completely forgotten how to play soccer, that doesn't happen. Yeah. That doesn't happen. Like, you can age out of being talented at certain things in soccer. The soccer doesn't leave you like that. Like, that's just not how it works. And I like, for me, I had been saying, when you're using him as this Swiss Army knife, it's hard to feel settled. It's hard for him to like figure out where he is, what his positioning is. He was coming in unfit. He was coming into a new team, a bunch of new people, never been transferred before, never lived anywhere outside of Dallas before. Just generally being asked to do a million things, like a master of none or whatever, right? And I don't think that, like, he's got this weight of the price tag of himself on him and like what he wants to do. And in the same vein that we gave Pedro kind of a little bit of a pass on that last season of like, dude, he's got a lot of weight on him, like, you know, that can play into it. I think the same thing can be said with Ferreira. And is this because he's scored 1 goal and 1 assist? Does that mean that this was the world's best signing and whatever? No, but I think it's just showing you that they didn't leave his bag. Like, it still exists, and he is like, it's, if you are reactionary in either way off of one game, it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
I think it is a lesson, you know, free advice for some of you out there about the benefits of just betting on track record. That's all. I think that's all either of us were ever saying. Yeah. Like, I was saying the whole time, like, I would be pretty surprised if he just, like you said, like, just forgot how to play the game, forgot how to score goals.
He's 6
like
assists,
he's been doing his entire career. Yeah, so that's what
a lot.
That's what I was just gonna get to is like, if you look at his full body of work this season now as it stands after this game. He has 2 goals, 6 assists in league play, and a couple more like of each all comps if you take into
2
account. 2
more assists all comps, I think.
Yeah. So let's say 2 goals, 8 assists. Did he score in Champions Cup against
I don't
Antigua?
think he scored against.
Was that Areola?
I think it was Paul Areola.
He had
scored.
the assist.
Yeah, he had the assist
yeah.
on it.
So 2 goals, 8 assists, all comps. At this point in the season, which for a TAM player, which is what he is, that is like literally.
He's a very high TAM
fine.
player, to be fair, but
yeah, but like 10 goal contributions, all comps for a high TAM player. You would like to see the goal scoring total higher, yes. Yeah. Like I would grant
like
that, but
a little bit halfway past the season, 10 goal comps.
That's like fine.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
That's fine.
So like.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm not. I don't think either of us are. We'll get more into it. Yeah, I don't want to keep.
Yeah.
Like, we'll get into it in the agenda check. It's just, that's all I got to say is I think he put in a great performance, and the more he scores, the more he contributes, the more he finds his footing, the better he's gonna be. That's just it. That's just it.
Seattle's second goal in this game, as I mentioned, Danny Musovski.
Greatest player to ever play the game. Never said anything bad about him.
22 to 23 pass build-up, depending on what Apple TV feed you were looking at. But either way, I was saying it on the post-game live, Noah, but to me, this goal was so great to see because, you know, when we talk about identity, the type of stuff that the Seattle Sounders thrive on and need to be doing to be successful, it's stuff like that. Slicing and dicing you, absolutely clinical in possession, one-touch passing, moving the ball at a different speed than the defense, creating a dangerous opportunity through Jesus Ferreira, playing the ball to Danny Musovski's feet, and then so just like great work in possession all around to create this opportunity, and then a wonderful dime from Ferreira to send Moose off and running, and then just what an individual effort from Moose on this run. It was funny. As soon as he got out and running, he had Paul Rothrock to his left. You could tell he was not going to be doing anything with that. He was about to take it. I literally, like, there was never any point where he was making that run where I felt like he wasn't going to score that.
Once he turned that defender, it was over.
It was over.
Like, he spun the defender, and I was like, oh, that's in the back of the net.
But it was like he received that ball from Ferreira very far from the 18. He had to make he's one-on-one with that center back that whole run.
Jordan Morris too just dropped.
Yeah, it just like the way he, like you said, turned that defender, freed himself up to get that shot, and then the finish. It was a chef's kiss goal. It was one of my favorite goals of the season so far, and it was good to see, obviously, Ferreira get the assist, but also Moose sort of look again. I thought outside of the goal, this was the best, most dangerous Moose has looked in a single game in a while. He had 2 other really high percentage chances. The first one that went the double post, where he hit it off the post, and then the defender also hit it off the post. I have no idea how
he should have had another one.
He should have had another one. He also had another one that he almost got by Stuver. It was just a little bit wide, but that was another. Those are the types of chances I want to see him getting. And then, of course, he gets the second goal to kind of dust this game. Austin FC didn't have much in attack, it felt like, in this game. So once they went up 2-0, it was just about seeing the game out. But they wouldn't have been in a position to feel that kind of comfort level if Moose doesn't come through in that moment. And so that was just all around great to see. Great sequence, great goal. And ultimately, that's what dusted the game off. So, any takes or thoughts on that Moose goal?
No, I thought it was great. And something he said in the post game in the locker room was someone asked him about, you didn't score in the Club World Cup. Does this feel good? He's like, yeah, well, I was playing against the best center backs in the world. Like, it's not really he's like, I don't think it really says as much about I'm paraphrasing here, but it's he was kind of saying, like, I think it says less about me and more about the competition we were playing.
PSG might be the best defensive team I've seen like ever in my life.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's like it's incredible. But that he was kind of saying, like, listen, like, it's not. I didn't take it like I wasn't like down on myself because I didn't score against PSG. Like, that's kind of expected. So I mean, but he was saying like that was good competition, and I don't know. He looked good. He looked good tonight. I think you were right. Like, this probably was his best game that he's played.
And it was obviously about the goal, but more just like you want your number 9 to be consistently dangerous like that. So it's good to have him coming into form right as Jordan Morris is finally coming back.
I think that's part of it.
Yeah, probably
is the competition to stay on the field.
And but if Jordan can stay on the field for the stretch run here, it's definitely like it's good to have a number 9 like Correct. Moose that you feel good about putting in situations where maybe Jordan is when he's ramping up, he's only going 60.
He's not going to be
he's not going so only good things can come from Danny Musovski being in form and looking dangerous on the field. This game did have a bit of an unfortunate ending. RBW, Reed Baker Whiting gets another red card on a play.
Double yellow,
and it was unnecessary. You're up 2-0.
It was a little silly.
You're trying to close the game out. It's like the 89th minute, and you're up 2 goals. He gets, correct me if I'm misrecollecting this, but he got dispossessed at around midfield, and then kind of just studs up, slid into the guy.
Yeah, he lost the ball or was trying to tackle. I can't exactly remember if he was trying to tackle someone, and then he kind of swung his leg up at the end of his slide and clipped the guy, and he sold it. I mean, if you're on a yellow, you can't go to ground like that and not win the ball. Like,
at that area of the field in particular, you just don't need to do it. So,
and it wasn't even in a place where, like you're saying, like, the counter could have been on, but it wasn't. Like, it's still 2-2 or it's still 2-0. It's late in the game. Like, you got to keep your head for that.
Yeah.
Like, you got to. Like, it's not that I think that he's a bad player or that this atones and is some sort of scarlet letter on him. It's just like that's the truth. You can't do that. You can't.
Yeah, and I'm still going to keep my RBW stock. I know, we had the RBW crash out brigade after the Atletico game, a game where I thought he was competing out there. I know we got pulled out of position on defense a couple times, but he had some nice moments in attack.
So does Nuhu, by the way.
He was going head to head with like these Atletico Madrid attackers that make like 600 times his salary, and he's 20 years old. Hasn't played all that many minutes at all outside of the MLS Next Pro level. Certainly never I know he has like a fair amount of first team appearances at this point, but never like consistent run. It feels like
he hasn't been able to stay healthy.
He would get out there and fits and starts, and then couldn't stay healthy, and really just hasn't been on the field for the first team all that much in his career. So there's going to be some growing pains that come with that. I'm willing to live with that. This one wasn't the end of the world because they won the game anyway, but you do hope to see, because he got a red card last year in Houston as well.
Yep.
In a similarly kind of unnecessary scenario.
Late in the game as well.
But you could tell how upset he was at what happened as he got sent off. I had no issues with Tim Ford, built Ford tough.
Built Ford tough.
Sending him off there was fair. So Hopefully he learns from it. I want to see him get more minutes because I do think that for the defensive struggles and like the need to develop that aspect of his game, he shows things in attack that are just that Nuhu just doesn't offer.
Yeah.
So if he can improve defensively, which I think will come with experience. Like usually these things, as you get more reps, as you get more minutes with the first team, you get better. And if that happens and he can keep developing his attacking game, I think he still has the upside of a really good attacking modern fullback that a lot of teams in Europe have already been interested in, by the way. RBW has been scouted up as much as any academy kid that Seattle has been brought up. His stock is not what Obed Vargas's has become because of the injuries, but this is a guy where when you see, I mean, I'm just telling you guys, like when you see reports of Sounders players that are drawing interest from overseas, RBW has at times in his ascent been linked to the biggest names out of any youth player that Seattle has brought up. So you don't have to agree with that, but I'm just telling you that that's what other scouts in Europe have seen from him at times. And the more I watch him play with the first team, the more I can see that potential as this modern fullback that can really be an asset in attack. He's just got to get better at defense, which I think is within his ability. But all that being said, you never want to see him get a red card in that type of situation.
No.
So anything else on RBW or
Red Baker Whiting?
Red Baker Whiting. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to take a quick ad break. We will be right back with Lobbing Scorchers Man of the Match and our agenda check.
There is nothing quite like a match day in Seattle. The flags waving, the drums pounding, the crowd surging as the team takes the pitch at Lumen Field. You want to be there. I want to be there. So how do you get there? By visiting lobbingscorchers.com/tickets, you'll be taken directly to Ticketmaster where you can buy tickets directly from the club themselves. You don't have to worry about a secondhand marketplace or any of that weirdness. Just tickets, super simple, right to your phone. lobbingscorchers.com/tickets.
Welcome back from our ad break that we know that you didn't skip. Don't skip our ads.
Or else. Ari's gonna.
Don't skip.
Don't skip it.
I'm gonna cry. No, let's hit our Lobbing Scorchers Man of the Match real quick. I mean, I already said mine, but I've got Alex rolled on. Anytime you have a guy who has never played a position, especially a high leverage position such as center back, you go out, you keep a clean sheet, and you actually have these moments where you look like freaking Yamar Gomez Andrade out there. That's good enough for me. I'm obviously Ferreira, Moose. There's a lot of different ways you could go with this one, but that's who I got. You wanted to give a different one?
Yeah, I'm trying to come up. I always like to have a creative one here, and I think I'm just gonna give it to the obvious choice, which is Jesus.
I think one of us had to.
I think it's just like. I think honorable mention to Christian Roldan.
Dude, I side tangent. His slide tackle, one of the biggest plays of the game.
Yeah. I think he continues to be a difference maker every single match. I think Paul played out of his mind. He's clearly riding the Club World Cup boost, but I think you have to individually celebrate Jesus in this moment, just simply because It's been a long time coming to have a monster game like this, and you got to celebrate the wins. And as someone who is relying on him to score 5 goals, I need to celebrate and use my platform to lift him up.
You are very much relying on him. You've got a lot of skin in the game.
I'm gonna look so cool if he scores his 5th goal as the game winner in MLS Cup. Final, wouldn't that be so sick? I
think you're kind of chilling on this.
Yeah.
All it takes is for him to get hot one time, which it looks like he might be doing. But no, I think one of the two of us had to give him the nod because we've been saying for a while that once he gets his feet under him on this team, gets in rhythm, gets more comfortable with his role, figures out what that role even is, which it looks like. It looks like the most clear cut it has yet, as far as his understanding of where to be relative to where his teammates were expecting him to be in order to be able to create danger, and ultimately the chances like the one that he finished on the goal that he scored.
Correct.
And also putting him in a position where he and Moose can combine for that second goal.
Yeah.
So I think it was a necessary shout. All right, let's get into our agenda check. We've got a few for this week.
Agenda check.
Okay, thanks for that. I didn't know we had an intro music for agenda check.
Intro theme. Agenda check.
We've got, these are a lot of check-ins, not like new ones, but I think most of what came out of this game was sort of stuff that we had already been talking about. So
when you come to our hood, Ari, you best check in with us.
Yeah, exactly.
So
let's start with one that you mentioned right there, but Paul Rothrock. There's been some talk. There's been a lot of talk as to who the starting wingers should be on this team, and I think ultimately it's going to be a mix and match rotation. That's what it seems like. But Paul Rothrock started the PSG game, and then he once again started this game.
Correct.
And that to me is an indication that Brian Schmetzer might be coming to a similar conclusion that we both are.
He listens to the podcast.
Listens to the pod, but which is that I don't know what to make of this information, and you can all do with this information what you will. To me, it seems pretty obvious at this point that this team is at its most dangerous offensively when Paul Rothrock is on the field.
Correct.
His skill set does indeed lend itself to a super sub role, like maybe more so than others. But at this point, when he's the one out there in these games, taking on defenders, beating his defenders, sending in dangerous and accurate service, getting the assist on that.
Absolutely doing
Ferreira goal.
techers around defenders.
Doing techers around defenders, getting on the stat sheet. I've always loved his work rate and what he offers this team as a two-way player. I love watching him press. Oh. Just the way he just is dogging the other team.
I wish I had the lungs that he does, dude.
Yeah.
He I think you could just... He's like one of those wind-up boxes, but it never ends. Like, he just keeps going.
He and Christian both, and I remember hearing him say, Paul Rothrock, that is, in an interview at some point this season, like, he was basically like, when it comes to just like running at people and work rate and stuff like that, like I will bet on myself, like, all day.
As he
and
should.
As he should. That's not arrogance. That's confidence. That is, you earn like that confidence by the way you play and what you put on tape. And that's what he's done this year. And this, like, I think what you said was correct. Like, this was he was a monster in this game. Like, it was a great Rothrock game. Great for all of our Rothrock related agendas. And I'm not saying that it's like he has to be written in pen as the first choice starter every single game, but like,
there's like 9,000 wingers on this team, It's like, I get it.
Yeah, and like, you did have Ryan Kent sub on, and I think look better than he has in a while. He had some one really great moment in particular where Ferreira honestly really could have and should have had another goal.
Yeah, correct.
And what was great about that was just seeing Ryan Kent. Like, I love that run where he just kind of sees the space and is able to like put himself into an area where he can set Ferreira up for that type of dangerous opportunity. So at least you're still seeing that from him. But in terms of like consistent danger on like play in, play out basis and work rate and everything he brings to the table, I think this agenda is strengthened.
It has to be. I don't dish these takes lightly, Ari. I don't. I truly believe that he is a starter on this team. He is the archetype of what this style of football plays to. And it's not to say that other players can't, have a different way of playing, but it's the same thing, like the high press, following every ball, tracking back, closing down every run, like getting back, getting forward, sprinting your ass off, like not being able to breathe by the time you sub off. Like, it's who he is. It's in his DNA. Brian even said this last year. He was like, it's the same thing with like Obed too, right? And why Obed's been so successful is like they all like to do the dirty work. They love to do the dirty work. It's a part of the game to them. It's something you can't turn off in your brain, and that's a type of player. There's a type of player like that, to where like you see a ball going backward and you're like, I need to get. It may not be in my position, but I need to get there so I can help my team. And these are the players that, especially in MLS, like MLS is just it's a dog league. It's a dog league. Like you are fighting and running and the work rate is crazy. He's so good at it. And there's other leagues like that. Like I alluded to this earlier in the press box. I brought up this idea. I was like, I can't wait for Paul Rothrock to get signed by a championship team. And like I said it a little facetiously, like, but then the more that like we all were talking about it, we're like, wait, but that could actually be like a good fit. Like the work rate, just the big builtness, like playing you hard-nosed soccer.
Yeah.
I could see it, man. And for a kid who basically got cut to make his way back to the Sounders, say, I will do whatever I have to do to be able to make it on this team. I'll play whatever position you want me to play. I will stay on the second team for as long as you want me to do it, but I am going to play professional soccer. How can you not love him, man?
Yeah.
How can you not love him?
We'll see. I think there's some good competition now because I did think Ryan Kent looked a little resurgent, at least in a couple instances last night. He and De La Vega weren't on the field for all that long.
The Ryan Kent Rothrock duo is pretty nice. I gotta say, you did cook on that. Like when they're playing together, it's kind of nice.
It's kind of nice. And I was also, I mean, it's a separate topic, but I was pleased. I was pleased to see Ryan Kent have those moments because
let's do a Ryan Kent update agenda check here.
Okay, it was not in the outline, but we can. I thought it was better. The play I'm talking about in particular, where he sets up Ferreira, that's the Ryan Kent that we saw, and like I do think like for as much as the stock might have like decreased a little bit, like relative to what it was at the start, he really should have at least 2, maybe 3 or 4 more assists this year, based on like the quality of chances that he's generated. That I think he's gotten a little unlucky that didn't get finished. The Ferreira one last night was a perfect example. He cannot do anything more to lay the ball on the platter for his forward. So I was just pleased to see that his spatial awareness is so good. Like that's all that is, to be able to kind of glide himself like away from the defense, like realize that he's got the guy right on him and he's got this space where if he just kind of glides off the shoulder, he's going to have room to send in the service. So I was just happy that he did that. And I will say, if he keeps doing that, he is going to start racking assists. Like what I love about him is that when he's generating chances, they're not just like half chances. Mm-hmm. They're high, real high quality. Yeah. So I have full confidence that if he keeps playing like that and having plays like that, we're going to see this guy's assist numbers push double digits like by the end of this year.
Yeah, I think also you can tell that when he was in his quote-unquote spell of not as great form, a lot of it had to do with just misanticipating his teammates. Like he's still feeling it out, man. Like getting minutes in practice versus getting minutes on the field is so different. And like I think that his soccer IQ is incredibly high, and I think that like sometimes you're playing with guys who maybe just aren't there yet in terms of their soccer IQ, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. And so they're not anticipating that you're going to be able to make those plays, and you're making those plays anticipating that they're going to be in that space. And so, I think that Ferreira almost chance was a good example of him finding finding his player and feeling that chemistry a little bit more. So like that's good sign. It's a good sign.
It was it was definitely, I was encouraged by what I saw from his brief cameo, mainly related to that one play, but just how he looked like spry out there, which was good to see.
Pro Ryan Kemp pod.
All right, our next agenda. This
it's
is
a victory lap for me.
Yeah,
Ari.
this is your agenda, so I'll let you just cook on this.
I've been saying this. I've been evangelizing it. I gave him man of the match a few times. Alex Roldan is actually quite good agenda. I think that I've seen this circle, this swell of there's negativity around my boy.
There's been like a offshoot brigade on this.
It's very odd. It's an odd group of individuals doing this.
And it seems to me to be separate than the like normal brigade.
Yeah, like they don't really care about him as much.
Yeah.
But for me, dude, he's a good player, man. He's versatile. He works hard. He gives you things like being an emergency center back and basically playing perfect. Are we going to debate anymore that this guy is not a very talented soccer player and a really good addition to this team? Whether you want to argue KKR should be starting ahead of him or whatever, blah, blah, blah. I am very glad that he is on this team. And I think that it's time that the rest of yous start putting some goddamn respect on his name. And that's how I feel. Ari.
And you've been saying it for a while, to be fair. So, no, I mean, I think if there's any game that demonstrates his value, it's this one. To be able to be down to your 7th, 8th choices at a position and to be able to keep a clean sheet, like especially with that position in question being center back, keeping a clean sheet. And they were testing him. Like, Austin FC didn't bring a lot on offense in this game, but to the extent that they did what I would have done, which is hit long balls at number 16 and make him deal with it. And again, so much of playing center back, yes, it's 1v1 defending, but it's positioning and field awareness. And I thought he was on point every time they tried to test him over the top. He got to his spot, beat the runner there, and got that shit out of there. So
it was tight too because you got to see Kalani play out wide while Alex was still on the field too. So it was an interesting wrinkle.
I think the extension agenda of this is Alex Roldan as a center back agenda.
Alex Roldan CB agenda.
You
got to listen. Yaymar's getting older.
It doesn't seem like Yaymar is particularly close to getting back.
No.
Kim Ki-hee, I'm pretty sure. It seems like he came back too soon to try and put it in for the Club World Cup, which was admirable. But I don't know what his status is as far as how long he's going to be out. They will have Nuhu and John Bell back from suspension, so I think John Bell. I would rather start John Bell.
He was balling in the Club World Cup.
He really was. He was one of the underrated. He and Jackson Reagan. Like in the PSG game, man.
His stock had been down, so.
And yeah, like they really put it in against PSG.
Also, like sub agenda, we do as many agendas as we want to because this is our show, but Jackson Reagan agenda, dude, he looks like he's back and better than ever.
Yeah,
like he looks like, dude, he's a monster.
The long passing, it's such an asset to his height. Like when he's dealing with long balls when people try and go over the top against him, I'm like, okay,
you're like, good luck, buddy.
Yeah, like have fun. Have fun with that. You should probably just scrap that one from the game plan because my guy is 6'7" and he is going to get his head to that before any of your little attackers are going to run onto it. So please keep hitting those long balls over the top at him. But yeah, no, that's a good sub agenda. Next one we got. This one is one that's not even necessarily from us, like as far as its genesis.
Yeah.
This is one from you, the people, and it's the Christian Roldan for the USMNT agenda. Hey, man, like if you're debating that at this point, then you're just not watching the games. I don't think you ever were, but like, go watch the tape. I'm gonna be the watch the tape guy. Watch the tape.
Put it in. You do this. You go. You dust it off. You put it in the VCR. I know a lot of the people.
Silent tape.
Yeah. I know a lot of the people, who are on this anti-Christian Roldan thing don't even have a driver's license. But that said, it's a VCR. It's got a tape. It spins. You put it in the thing. Got the tube TV. All right. Gets a little warm, staticky. You feel it? Okay.
Watch the tape.
Watch the tape,
Watch
buddy.
the tape versus Atletico Madrid, PSG. and Botafogo in the Club World Cup. And you tell me who was one of the best players on the field, if not the best player on the field. I think there's a strong case to be made that in a game featuring the Seattle Sounders and Atletico Madrid, the best player on the field on either team was CR7, Christian Roldan. If you don't agree with me, watch the tape and tell me why I'm wrong. You're not going to be able to. He was an absolute dog, absolute monster that whole tournament on a level that is higher than the level, let's be real, that is higher than the level that he would be playing at if he was playing international ball, which, look, I don't know if they're going to do it. Maybe there's some argument to be made that because he's 30 now, by the time World Cup rolls around, he'll be a year older than that. But as far as what players in the USMNT player pool are in the best form at that position at this moment in time, if you don't put Christian Roldan in that discussion, I have no idea what you are on about.
Brother, if you're telling me Johnny Cardoso or Luca De La Torre, I guess Luca De La Torre.
He's having a good year.
He's having a good year. But if you're going to tell me Johnny Cardoso,
I love your Cardoso,
is better than Christian Roldan, I got some shit to sell you, buddy. I got some shit to sell you, okay?
I watched the tape on that one.
Yeah.
Let me know how Johnny C's last USMNT caps have gone.
Yeah.
Not that hot.
And I'm telling you what,
horribly bad.
I'm gonna tell you what. There is no. This was a Jeremiah Oshan certified hood classic here. There is no national team in the entire world better than PSG. There is no national team better in probably the entire world than Atletico Madrid. And most national teams in the entire world are not as good as Botafogo. So if you're going to sit here and tell me the guy who just went out there was the man of the match in the Botafogo game, hands down for either teams, even though they lost, like statistically speaking, visually, all of that, probably the best Sounders player across all of those three games.
Oh, easily.
What are we doing? What are we talking about? He should be captaining the U.S. men's national team. He should be captaining the U.S. men's national team. You want to talk about these little shitheads who don't like to work? They don't like to go to work? Oh, listen, I can't go to camp because I got to go with my girlfriend to go play golf. My name's Christian Pulisic. Oh, I'm tired. Buddy, you know who's not going to say that shit? You know who's not going to say that shit, Ari? Tell him who's not going to say that.
Christian Roldan. Agenda, signed, sealed, delivered.
I think we sized that up very well right there.
These last two we talked about already, but we'll hit on them. We'll hit on them just to check in on their official status.
Yeah.
The first one being the Jesus Ferreira is going to come good agenda, which is one I think that you and I have both been.
Brother, he's going to come real good.
We have both been a proponent of that. And he still has got to prove it down the stretch. I said I wasn't victory lapping after he hit the game winner against San Diego. I'm still not going to be totally victory lapping after the monster game that he just had against Austin FC. I already know that if he doesn't score a goal in the next game, people are going to be trashing on him again, and they're going to say that the goal and the assist that he had in this game didn't count because it came against Austin FC. But there is absolutely no conclusion to come to on this one right now, aside from that this agenda is strengthened, and I feel good about that.
Yeah, I not much more to say. I mean, he had a good game, and we'll see what happens. I think that it's a longer play than just is he going to be the best player on the field in the first season that he's here. So, but God forbid we have some longer term sight on that, Ari. God forbid.
And then lastly, RBW. I think general
RBW give RBW some starts agenda. Play him some more.
And that was the one that was percolating after the Atletico Madrid game because he started because Nuhu got benched. And a lot of people, I thought, pretty strangely crashed out about how he played in that game.
Yeah,
but I think the argument would be like he does offer a lot in attack that Nuhu simply does not, and that it could add a new intriguing element or dynamic for this team offensively to have. We've talked so much about the Jovan Jones, Brad Smith prototype that this team has lacked in recent years. RBW is that, theoretically. Like, he has not hit that upside yet, obviously. But in a world where he does hit his ceiling and upside, that's what you're gonna get. So I think this agenda is just related to giving him run to try and get him to that ceiling and theoretically add a new element for this team in attack. And I think this stock has suffered, but because of the red card.
Yeah.
Not really because of anything else he did in the game last night. But it's like, if you're going to be a carry the load fullback for the Seattle Sounders, you got to be not getting ejected from the game. Yeah, you got to have the mental component on as well. And honestly, I'm pretty tired of watching Seattle Sounders left backs get ejected every goddamn game.
Yeah, like can we not? It's a tired bit.
It's not a good bit. It was never a good bit. I'm tired of watching Seattle Sounders.
It's hacky. It's hacky.
Okay? It's tired.
Yeah.
It's run its course. I'm tired of watching Seattle Sounders left backs commit fouls off the ball that gift goals to Botafogo in the Club World Cup. Not going to mention any names. I'm tired of watching Seattle
CBs
Sounders
lose their mark every goddamn game and then go like this and yell at every other player on the field.
I'm tired of watching Seattle Sounders left backs football or like horse collar tackle defenders in Canada for clear as day dog-so red cards that totally chalk any chance you have of winning a game against a team that just got absolutely slammed in the CONCACAF Champions Cup final.
Themselves.
Again, not talking specifics here, not going to mention any names, but tired of watching that. And I'm tired of watching Seattle Sounders left backs get sent off in the 89th minute when you're up 2-0 and you're at midfield trying to retain possession and you lose the ball, but it doesn't really even matter that much because you have cover, so like you don't even need to commit the foul that gets you sent off. Tired of that.
Yeah.
I think everyone involved.
Ari is tired, folks.
Anyone who's been involved in that, I don't want to see that anymore. But I do. I don't know. I think
so. All who have been involved, please seek compensation.
Please stop. But but RBW, I do think that he needs to work on his defensive awareness and positioning. I think his 1v1 defending, he's at least willing to get in there and mix it up. And yeah, he's probably. I think the issue for him, I don't know, tell me if you agree with this. The issue for him defensively is a lot more like getting pulled out of position and then getting beaten behind more than it is when he's in a 1v1 situation getting mossed. Like, is that fair?
I think so.
Yeah, so that's something that's like coachable and correctable though. But the mental
that's reps.
That's just reps. But the mental side of it is also something that he clearly needs to work on because this was his second bad red card in the last 2 years, both times coming at a point where he could have theoretically have been getting more minutes, and he's suspended now for the next game. So I don't know. It's tough to know where to stand on this stock because I do think that the potential that he has as like a Jovan Jones, Brad Smith style left back, to me that's quite obvious. Like I think that is that aspect of his game.
You've been begging for one of those
for years, 2 or 3 years.
Agenda checked.
And that RBW is that. So
I agree with everything you said.
All right.
I have nothing else to add. That was your agendas have been checked.
that was a good RBW tangent.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna take another ad break, come back with one final topic, and then that'll be a wrap for this dub pod. We'll be right back.
Want to go deeper with Lobbing Scorchers? You know, scratch under the surface, get down even dirtier than we already get. Become a YouTube member. Sometimes things just get a little too spicy, a little too weird, and a little too loose for the general public. And you know, the people to see that are YouTube members. We're talking about exclusive bonus videos, the podcast after show, exclusive written content, and little bits and pieces of information before the unwashed masses know about it. As a member, you not only get access to all of this amazing content, you get a badge next to your name and a slew of amazing emotes to use, not only in our live stream chat, but also in our comment section. And yes, we do have an emote for Jesús Ferreira, Go Snack, and Paul Rothrock. This is the best way to help keep us independent and keep us building out this crazy YouTube brand that we call Lobbing Scorchers. Hit the join button down below or hit the link in the top of our description if you're on mobile to join the ranks and become a Lobbing Scorchers YouTube member.
Welcome back from another ad break that you most definitely did not skip. No,
Ari cried, by the way. Like
I did
during
because
the
I
ad
know
break.
a couple people did skip, and
Yeah.
I did cry about it.
It's
but
just like, why would you do that? To
now I
him?
don't need to because I know no one else did skip.
Yeah.
So we just had one more topic that we were going to hit for this episode, which was a mid-season check-in. And it is a little bit past mid-season, but I feel like the Club World Cup was sort of representative of like a midway inflection point, and then what we just started with this Austin game was the second act, the stretch run, and so we wanted to do kind of just a status check on where the club is right now as we look ahead to this stretch run relative to where we thought and hoped they would be at the beginning of this season. Noah, did you want to start, or should I give my take first?
Yeah, I wanted to kind of hit a couple of different spaces on this. The first one is, do we think this team is going to win anything? If the season ended now, how would we feel? And just relative outlook, like just vibes, you know? So I want to start with the vibes one. I think coming off the Club World Cup, the vibes are hot. The vibes are hot.
You can sense it from like being around the team, like at the games and last night as
The
well.
locker room was bumping last night. Let me tell you, they had to ask him to turn the music down during the pressers.
Exactly.
Like, it
and,
was,
and you can just feel that they are all riding a high from getting to play in those games. I mean, dude, that must have been so fun.
Oh,
like
dude.
being out there against Botafogo, Atletico Madrid, and PSG, and having the games like be up in the balance where you're fighting for results that would be legendary if you can pull them off, and they're actually like low key attainable, even though they didn't get them. Just being in a situation where you were competing against players like that, you got your family and your friends and 50,000, 55,000 fans, whatever it was, watching you. That must have been the goddamn experience of a lifetime. All the guys are cloud nining. So I agree. The tournament, it might sound weird that a tournament where you lost all 3 games and got grouped like would result in vibes like that. But like that's real. Like that's stuff that everyone who's around the team right now will tell you, like they're feeling that.
yeah, I think for me, like, honestly, the vibes seem amazing. Like, it's not...
Which they didn't as recently as a couple weeks
like,
ago.
I think it's really, truly a reset. Like, we talked about after that Vancouver game how much of a low this team was on. Like, it felt like shit. Like, that game, they fell apart mentally and physically and dropped points in a winnable game, in a winnable moment, in a moment that they really just, like, needed those points. Didn't make a run in Champions Cup. Didn't make a run, you know, just we're never really a serious contender for the Shield. I mean, they weren't even playing an Open Cup, so it's, you know, there was that. And yeah, I think this was really a reset, a mental reset to say, listen, all of the shit that was in our head in the first half of this season, it doesn't matter, dude. I don't care what anyone has to say. I just went toe-to-toe with fucking Hakimi.
Yeah.
Like that's I mean, what are we talking about? That's incredible.
How many people ever can say that they got to do that?
Like, probably a lot of really stinky, sweaty French people, but like, regardless, you know, like, regardless, that's
not many of the average laymen.
no, exactly. So I think the vibes are high, and when we talk about momentum being kind of everything in this league, do you think it's going to be peaking like right now, and maybe that's a little too soon? Because normally you want to peak playoff time. But
And,
could this
well,
mean Leagues Cup run?
And usually this team is good about peaking during playoff time.
And
that's
summer.
That's been a source of frustration at times, which is like, why can't you just find that level earlier in the season as well? But it's also been something that they've ridden to great effect over the years because it's a team that historically does get hot at the right time. But I think. I mean, overall, let's just look at their record and points per game, points total, and stuff like that. They're 8-6-5 at 1.53 points per game, 29 points, and a +2 goal differential. So if you're just looking at that in isolation, I would say that's not where we would have wanted them to be. If you told us that that's where it was going to be without giving us any other information before the season, I think I would say that is like
That's underwhelming.
That's underwhelming relative to what we thought this team could do this year.
Signings they made, the money
like
they
the Ferreira trade, De La Vega being healthy and theoretically
Jordan,
getting to
DP.
contribute. Jordan like being set to be a DP and continuing what he did last year when he moved to the number 9 and bagged 19 goal contributions. So all that had us, I think, feeling like this team should very much be in that 1.7 to 1.89 points per game territory, not 1.53, which is what they're at now. But when you look at it in context, and I've mentioned this before, given the injury situation at forward and at center back that they've dealt with, and the absences and the context of all that, and then what's happened in some of the games, how they played in Club World Cup, and the fact that they are 1 point off fourth place in the West right now, I think there's every reason to believe that this team can compete for silverware this year. And you have Jordan Morris theoretically coming back healthy, which will hopefully give the team a boost in attack, even though Moose looked great last night as well, but that's another good sign. I think what you were saying is correct. Like the vibes coming off the Club World Cup are vastly improved than what they were even as recently as the Vancouver game. And just at the game last night, it had the feel of a team that was like, all right, like we have this reset, like you said.
Yeah.
It's time to get back on track. And we'll see if they can do it. But I want to see them pump that points per game up towards where San Diego, Vancouver, and Minnesota are. And assuming they get back to relative full health, I definitely think they can do that.
For sure.
Will they do that? I don't know, but we'll have to see. But they have the tools. If I didn't feel like they had the tools at their disposal to do that, I would say that. But I think they do.
Yeah, I think, I'm interested to see how they do in Leagues Cup. We're big Leagues Cup defenders over here. People get really upset at us about that, but like, I enjoy Leagues Cup. You know what? I'm gonna say it. I'll say it. You know what? And maybe I'm a shill, but I enjoy it, and I would be happy if they won Leagues Cup. That'd be sick.
More than Leagues Cup itself, I just like watching them play Liga MX's teams.
Yeah, whenever you get to play a higher level of competition. Not saying that Liga MX is higher level of competition generally than the average MLS team. It's different. It's just fun. So I think that like if they can make a run in that, that'd be sick. Dude, we already went to the final one time. Win it. Bring it home. We don't have that trophy yet. I want that one.
It's one to put in the case.
I want that one.
Sure.
It looks like an hourglass. It's cool.
Yeah.
And then second, I think the vibes are that like it feels like this team is picking up steam. And they're picking up steam at a time when players are settling into positions. We talked about Ferreira. Players are coming back healthy. You're talking about Jordan. And players are legitimately competing for starting minutes week by week. We're talking about Alex Roldan, KKR. We're talking about every winger. Paul Rothrock pushing out De La Vega. It is like this. The machine has gotten going. You turn the key and it like falters a couple times on your old car. Finally caught and the engine's going. And I think that what that is to mean long term in this season, I don't know, but it's feeling much better. Jeremiah was talking about this on No Study at This. He was saying, if the best thing that happens this season is you went to the Club World Cup, that's a failure of a season. So with that, I wanted to ask you, if the season ended today, would you be happy or would you be sad?
I think any season where you don't win a trophy, this club's held to a standard that's what defines success, is stacking silverware, and it would be a second straight year, if I'm not mistaken, that they wouldn't have gotten one. So that would extend a streak that I know they don't want to extend.
Third straight year, right?
Yeah. I think that would be right.
22 was the last time.
They need to start like adding to the case again. It's a great case. We all love the case, but
the case.
You got to add to the case. You got opportunities to do that on multiple fronts between now and the end of the year. So I do think that taking one of these trophies that's available is going to be ultimately what defines if it's like an actual, like real success.
Yeah.
But let's see how the games go, because there is a world where they go on like an insane tear and look like an incredible team and then end up like falling short in the playoffs, or one of those like high variance scenarios where it comes down
Ricky
to
Pooch tears his ACL and
that
somehow
one
plays.
bounce of the ball either way type thing.
Yeah.
So I would assess that as it arrives. But no, I mean, I do think that like the objective and expectation should absolutely be to win either like Leagues Cup or MLS Cup. And I mean, who knows? Like the Shield feels pretty out of reach at this point. But if other teams cool down and Seattle gets blazing hot, maybe they work their way up into the mix for that. I don't think so.
I think it's out of reach.
I think it's pretty out of reach, but like
you're on 29 points and Philly's on 40.
Yeah. But maybe they tailspin and Seattle just goes on like a 10-game win
They're
streak.
losing right now, so
yeah. But the Shield I'm not that wrapped up in. But you got Leagues Cup out there, you got MLS Cup out there. You gotta go all out for those. You gotta try and win those.
If you had to pick one that you think is more like you if you were not that you're a betting man, but if you were a betting man and you had to pick one or the other, which one are you putting some money down on?
Probably MLS Cup, just because this club has such a long track record of, especially under Schmetz. I mean, dude, his playoff record is insane. He has by far the highest winning percentage in the playoffs of any coach in MLS history. People don't talk about that enough, in my opinion, when we're assessing the Schmetz overall body of work and legacy. He's the best playoff coach this league has ever seen, like winning wise. So, like, Schmetz in the playoffs is god tier. So if I had to put money on him.
They were in the Western Conference Final last year.
Exactly. And they won multiple playoff series to get there again. It's a good tournament team, but it's specifically a good MLS Cup playoff team, historically at least. So that's why I would put my wager on that.
Least we forget that we were one ACL away from probably winning MLS Cup and hosting it in Seattle. Like,
yeah.
Off of a year that, like, I wouldn't say was bad, but I wouldn't say was extraordinary by any stretch of the term.
No, I think if anything, going into the playoffs, people were feeling kind of disappointed by how the season went. And then, people remember that playoff run differently. I thought that was a great playoff run.
I thought it was great, too.
Yeah,
but,
so
maybe it was because we were at all the games, but...
Maybe.
be.
But, anytime you come within 8 minutes of making an MLS Cup and probably winning it, you were at least in the mix, which in reality, this stuff is all just like bites at the apple and putting yourself in those positions. Sometimes it's not going to work out like last year, but if you put yourself in those positions enough, you'll have years like 2016 and 2019 where it does go your way. So it's more about just putting yourself in those situations to take those results and ultimately, hopefully, win those trophies.
Well, that's all I have for a check-in. I think that we can update this, but I think it's interesting to see where we are, and it feels like the tides are turning, the doors are opening, and I'm just excited for this next half of the season.
Absolutely.
For the rest of the season.
Absolutely. All right, I think we're going to call it right there for this dub pod. Thank you all, as always, for tuning in. Nice to get back to league play and have a win to talk about. Appreciate all the support. Like, comment, subscribe, rate 5 stars, sub to the channel, follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok. Buy the Lobbing Scorchers hot sauce, lobbingscorchers.com/sauce. Subscribe to Sounder at Heart. Am I missing anything, Noah, or is that about size it up?
That's about it. Share with Hakimi. I don't know.
Nico and I will have been at it already.
Yep.
On Monday's Lobbing Scorchers
Listen to
kickoff.
Lobbing Scorchers kickoff.
So check that out. And until next time, we out.
Peace.